Before I opened my salon, my co-founder Leslie had really short hair. She had been trying to grow it out for years, but every time she got a trim, it was right back to the same length.
No, it did not go back to the same length. It was shorter.
Today, I'm happy to tell you that her hair is obnoxiously long.
Is it? Is it?
It takes forever to do, but she's totally fine with that because guess who does her hair for her?
Yeah, him, actually. He does it for me.
Anyway, growing your hair out is actually really easy. I'm gonna show you the exact same products and routines that we use to grow her hair out so that you can get the exact same results. How to get growth. When we first started, Leslie's hair was about shoulder length, and no matter what she did, no matter what she tried, it would never grow longer than that. Before I started doing her hair, Leslie went to her old stylist and said, hey, I'm really trying to grow my hair out. How do I make it longer? What do I need to do? Her stylist said, oh, that's easy. That's no problem at all. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna come in every 6 weeks for a trim. That way we stimulate growth and keep your ends healthy. So Leslie, like a good client, she came in every 6 weeks for a trim.
My hair did not grow longer. It actually got shorter. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm naturally curly. So if you cut somebody's hair from shoulder length to here, when it's curly, it's actually to here. Like right here.
And I just want to pause here because people love to repeat this advice over and over and over. You may have even heard it from your stylist, but it's absolute garbage. It's not true at all. This is the advice that Regina from Mean Girls would give to her enemy to destroy her hair. It's the opposite of what you want to do. Not cool. Stay away from that advice. Let's get you up to date. Number one, trimming your hair does not make your hair healthy. All it does is hide the evidence that your hair is not healthy. It's kind of like the same strategy you used as a kid when your parents told you to clean your room, but really you just shoved everything under your bed so they couldn't see it.
Yeah, you still do.
So sure, on the outside, it may seem like you fixed everything for a minute, but really you haven't addressed the problem at all, and your new ends are just gonna split again really soon anyway. So you get stuck in this trap of constantly trimming your hair, doing what they're telling you to do, thinking you should be making progress, but you're not making progress, so you give up. So bringing this back around to Leslie, one of the first things that we did was adjust her trim schedule. And this freaks a lot of people out, so fair warning. We had her wait a whole 6 months between trims. And 6 months sounds like a really long time, but really in hair years, it's not that long at all.
Like if I had to think of my last haircut, it was probably like 8 months ago. Easily. I'm due for one. I know I am now.
You're probably used to seeing your stylist every 8 to 16 weeks, and you get your hair cut every single time because that's what you do. When you go to see your stylist, they cut your hair. It doesn't occur to a lot of people that they're allowed to tell their stylist like, hey, I'm trying to grow my hair out. I only want to get my color done today. Don't worry about trimming it at all. Your stylist may try to convince you to cut it anyway, but just ignore that because you have to remember stylists are like the Cookie Monster except around hair. They want to cut the hair, they want to color, they want to do all these things with hair. That's why they're a stylist. You can't expect your stylist to be able to control their urges any more than you could trust the Cookie Monster to control his urges around cookies. It's totally fine. You just need to set healthy boundaries and say, I don't want to cut today. That's it. Anyway, Leslie stopped getting trims all the time and moved to every 6 months. And that was the first thing that made her hair grow out. But there's a lot more to it than that. She also needed to take steps to make her hair grow faster. And this is where a lot of people get tripped up because there's so many products out there that make so many different promises. And how do you know which ones work and which don't? I'll be honest, this is really, really tricky and you can waste a ton of money and time on this. So you need to understand that there's actually 2 types of hair growth. The first type is what we're talking about in this video. And that type of hair growth is how to grow your hair longer. But there's another type of hair growth, which is like for aging men and they have a bald spot and they want to grow hair there. Those are 2 very different things. If you're trying to grow longer hair, you already know that the last thing you would ever want to do is go buy Rogaine for balding men. It's not the type of hair growth we're talking about. It turns out that a lot of the hair growth products that are marketed towards women to get longer hair are actually the Rogaine kind, and you're wasting a ton of money. There's 1,000 examples of this, but one of the biggest ones, especially on social media, is rosemary oil. You'll hear people say rosemary oil has a study proving that it grows hair. And yes, there actually is a paper on rosemary about this, but if you read the paper, it does not say that rosemary grows hair. What it actually says is you can't tell a difference between Rogaine and rosemary. You can't tell a difference. That's all it says. So really, all these hair growth products that claim to do all this stuff don't actually claim to give you longer hair. They're claiming the other type of hair growth. Ignore them, do not waste your money. Let's focus on what actually works. I have some really good news for you, and that news is that unless you have a serious medical condition, your hair is already growing really fast. And Leslie's hair was growing really quickly too, even when she was struggling to grow it out. She just didn't know how to harness the growth to turn it into length.
I don't like how you're talking about me, sir.
Now, I totally get it if you don't believe that. You're probably like, Chris, what do you know? I know my own hair, like it's not growing, it's been here all this time. So let me prove it to you. You may not be able to tell in these pictures, but Leslie's hair was dark brown and she got it dyed black, like super black. So every time she went into her stylist, she would have to get her roots touched up. Now, by definition, if her roots are growing out, it means that her hair is growing. Even if she's not getting any length, if her roots grow out and you can see where she needs to get the color touched up, her hair has grown.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, so yeah, when you color your hair, you can see the grow out. And when you see the grow out, you know it's grown. It's literally called grow out.
I point this out to clients all the time when they say that their hair isn't growing. I point to their roots where they have like 2 inches of growth where the color's grown out. I say to them, look, it's grown out like this much. That's a ton of growth since you got your color done. Like, that's awesome. They're like, that is awesome. Yeah, but like, why isn't my hair longer? The length of your hair will always be limited by how healthy it is. Really healthy hair will grow really long. Really unhealthy hair will stay really short and you won't be able to grow it out. The reason unhealthy hair won't get longer is because the ends split, break apart, and basically turn to dust. And when they turn to dust, your hair gets shorter. You're losing length. You may not see it on your counter, but it's just gone. Your hair will not get longer because it's actually working its way up instead of working its way down. On the other hand, if you have healthy hair with nice, strong ends, you're not losing any length. So the hair grows out and it keeps getting longer and longer and longer. Knowing that, the next thing we did with Leslie was eliminate the damaging mistakes that were keeping her hair unhealthy and short. Most of Leslie's damage came from heat styling, but I don't want you to think that heat styling is bad for your hair, because if you do it correctly, you can have healthier hair with heat styling than by air drying. You probably know that the longer you go between washes, the healthier your hair is going to be. But what most people don't know is that heat styled hair actually stays clean longer than air dried hair. Washing your hair really frequently is one of the most traumatizing things you can possibly do to your hair. Imagine your favorite pair of jeans and washing them 3 times a week for a year. They'd be absolutely falling apart, and guess what? It's the exact same thing with your hair. On the other hand, you can safely use heat with heat protection, like blow drying your hair when you get out of the shower, so it's soft, shiny, and sleek, stays clean much longer. Personally, I would vote heat styling every single time because it looks better, your hair actually gets healthier, and you don't have to spend as much time on your hair because you're not stuck washing all the time. Leslie, on the other hand, chose neither of these strategies. She chose to heat style all the time.
I did. I thought I looked great back then, especially when we used to do like the front section. Kink in my hair, flat iron it. Slept wrong, flat iron it. Went outside in the humidity, flat iron it. Had an event and it was still pin straight but wanted it to look even pin straighter, I would flat iron it.
You may be laughing, but I see you out there and I know that you're touching your hair up with heat all the time, way too often. So quickly, 2 rules for safely heat styling. Number 1, you must give your hair at least 3 days rest before you use heat on it again. And the second rule is that you have to use heat protection every time you put heat on your hair. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, use heat protection. If you want, I have an entire video on it right up here, but those are the basics. If you have those, you're ready for the next step. All right, so this was the part where we made Leslie's hair super, super healthy. And by the way, this isn't just for hair growth. Healthier hair just looks better. The color pops, it's shinier, it's easier to style. Everything about your hair life gets better and easier. I don't want to get all corny here, but honestly, you only have one life. You shouldn't be leaving your house in the morning like, ooh, I hope nobody looks in my hair. Like, you should leave the house happy about the way you look and what you're gonna do that day. The strategy goes like this. We know that no matter what, we cannot have unhealthy ends. Unhealthy ends split, break apart, turn to dust, which costs you length. We cannot have that. The key to having healthy ends is actually to have healthy mids, because if you think about it, when you trim your hair, your mids become your ends. And this kind of repeats because guess what the best way to have healthy mids is? the best way to have healthy mids is to have healthy roots. So basically, we need to get everything healthy. That way, your roots grow out to be healthy mids, your healthy mids grow out to be healthy ends, and your healthy ends do not split, which gives you length. It's awesome. So the way we do this is super easy. It takes absolutely no hair skill at all. All you need is 3 products, and I'm pretty sure that you already have one of them. This is what I call my Trinity routine. It is my pride and joy. I absolutely love it. The results are amazing. Let me walk you through it real quick. So we have 3 major parts of your hair. We have your roots, we have your mids, and we have your ends. We're gonna use one product to keep each of those healthy. So 3 parts of your hair, 3 products. Super easy. The first product is for your roots. Your roots are super easy because it's new hair. They haven't been damaged, haven't been around that long. All we have to do is keep them healthy. And that's really easy. All we're gonna use is shampoo and conditioner. Keep your scalp healthy, easy, that's all there is to it. So having taken care of that, we're now moving on to your mids. How are we gonna keep your mids healthy? You've probably realized that in the shower, when you put your conditioner on your hair, it feels really, really hydrated, like it feels amazing. But when you get out of the shower, like 12 to 24 hours later, your hair feels really dry again. There's a really, really good reason for this, and that reason is that your hair wants to dry out. It doesn't want to hold all that moisture from your conditioner naturally. You may not have thought about it like this, but modern conditioner is absolutely amazing in how much moisture it puts into your hair. The problem is your hair genetics are like 190,000 years old, according to Google. So we're using this amazing modern conditioner, but our hair, we're still rocking the old model, and the old model is not able to handle all that moisture. It's really leaky, meaning all the amazing hydration from your conditioner is leaking right out of your hair, drying it out, making it brittle and prone to damage. I have really good news though, and that's that modern technology has also given us a way to completely lock all that moisture in there, so our hair is super healthy. So after you shampooed and conditioned your hair, you get out of the shower, you towel dry your hair, the very first thing you're going to do before all the moisture leaks out is use leave-in conditioner while your hair is still damp. This is a super light product. It's gonna put a barrier around your hair to keep all the moisture in there so none of it leaks out. You just wanna make sure that you only use this on damp hair, and then make sure to brush it through your hair. It actually acts as a detangler, so it makes everything easier in your normal hair routine. All right, so that's 2 out of 3. We took care of the roots, we took care of the mids. This next third step is gonna make a huge difference in the health of your ends. All right, so even if your ends are really, really bad right now, this will still make a big difference right away. So what you're gonna do after the leave-in conditioner is style your hair. So if you're gonna blow dry, blow dry. If you're gonna do iron work, do all that. Or if you're gonna air dry, you're just gonna go straight into this next step right now. You're gonna take some hair oil and you're gonna put it in the palm of your hand. If you're new, you're only gonna take a tiny amount because it's really easy to use too much. You do not want your hair to feel greasy and oily. Really, this should just add some polish and shine. That's all you're looking for. You're gonna take a few drops in your palm, rub it together like this, and then you're gonna go over your ends, ends, ends. Do not go up top here, do not go on your mids, put it only on your ends. When you do that, you should see your ends getting shiny. You should see them getting polished and looking better, literally like right in front of your eyes. If you're not seeing that, add a little bit more oil. It's always safer to go slowly, a little bit at a time, until you get that look. And then once you get that look, you should have only a tiny bit left on your hands, and then and only then, when you have a small amount left, then you can go over your mids, run it over your mids, run it over a little bit on top, but there should only be a tiny amount left just to kind of bring your look together. You may need to apply a little bit more oil on day 2, 3, or however long you go. That's totally normal. If your ends look dry, put a little bit more oil on there until they get nice and shiny. You may be wondering which products you need to use. If you want to figure that out, you can check out my recommended product list. It has a hair type quiz and walks you through everything. I really recommend you check it out and figure out your hair type before you buy anything. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.